you guys, because I know obviously all of you have chosen our project.
Yeah.
But also worldwide, all the people that are listening and watching from abroad. Thank you guys for having chosen us. It gives us obviously huge happiness, and we're looking forward to see the results of your work.
Let me say this, your company is the most popular company this semester. Out of 15 clients, you have the most teams that chose you. And I still don't understand why, because you have a pretty complicated business model. It's not an easy challenge.
It is.
But you're number one, and then followed by the company that makes chocolate. So that one's easy. So chocolate, everybody understands that. And then another company that is also very popular makes a tea. And then Laser Wall is the next one. We just had a webinar with them, but yours is the most popular company at this time. More than 150 teams chose you, which is, as I said, it's a complicated model, but I'm glad they did. And hopefully with this webinar, they'll have more information to do a good job.
Yeah, it's amazing. Thank you, guys. So Adventure Addicted, that's the company we founded 2 years ago. As you know, we're just for kids studying in the university who came from Rome to Milan to study economics and this other guy engineering here at Politecnico. And as soon as we got to Milan, we realized that we were facing a problem of not finding people to go on adventures with, be it surfing, skiing, climbing, paragliding, everything. So we started to ask around, and it came up that it was actually a problem that a lot of people had. So we started to do things seriously. We produced a survey. We started to do really interviews. So we checked and we did the problem validation. And we decided that, I don't know, the world needed something like this. And we, of course, want to live our lives. And is this working? Yeah. So we decided to.
We can hear you. All good.
Yeah. So the original idea, of course, was the platform, the digital platform, which is both app and the website. I don't know if you had the opportunity to check it.
Of course, yes.
It's worth giving a brief explanation. You can create your profile. After that, you select your favorite sports. And after that, you land on the homepage where you have all the adventures displayed, and you can take part of to them. And if you don't find anything, or if you have your own idea in mind, you can create your own adventure and wait for people to join you. So that's very straightforward, just or looking or creating adventures. This is important. This is a SOS system we included in the app, and it gives the exact coordinates in case of emergency. And you can set 3 emergency contacts that you can call directly from the app. So of course we needed money. We didn't have any money, and we had the opportunity to talk to some investors in Milan. One of them got really into our project, so we got the first tranche of financing. This guy had another friend who was also interested in the company. So we were 2 investors. Eventually we found the third, and we had the budget to create the application, which is this. But of course, as you know, our business model has changed a lot over the years, really a lot. It has changed in a way that the application has become a side operation, let's say, because as you know, we don't generate income from the application. But it's interesting to notice how, although the business model has changed a lot, our philosophy, our mission stayed quite the same. Our mission is just to sensitize young people towards the outdoors and the life sports in the outdoors, and really make them out of their comfort zone, out of their sofas, and go live the life. So we started to promote the app, creating our own contents when we went to this kind of trips. We started creating videos, photos with our logo, just for the sake of sponsoring, of promoting the app. And of course, to try to involve people in our lifestyle, because we knew there are some people that wanted to do this, but they didn't have the means or the possibilities to do so. Eventually, the contents we created became of interest of big sports equipment brands. And that's kind of the turning point that brought us to where we are now. We succeeded to open a dialogue with these companies in a way that we started the our business-to-business model, which is content creator. And these are just the main operations we have. I will go through them more deeply in a few minutes. Yeah, talking about the B2B, this is just the last part of the roadmap which brought us to the B2B. So after the problem validation, we developed the app, and we got into this festival, this mountain festival in Milan, which we won. And this festival was sponsored by Vibram, which is a very renowned Italian salt producer. And we succeeded in opening a dialogue with them. So eventually we got into Innovits, which is the incubator of the Politecnico. But at that point, we had only the application, we had only the digital platform. And these guys of Innovits, they saw potential in us, in our company. So they pushed us towards this B2B model. Yeah, these are the cooperations we have with the sports brands. These are our past works. It's not important. This is our media kit. It's very important. It's probably one of our most important assets. It's pure informative assets that we present to the companies when we propose a project. And in this matrix, you can see some numbers regarding all our communication channels and how these channels operate, how we make them operate. And for example, yeah, of course, here you have the numbers. Here you have some trends, what we do, for example, on Facebook, which we use more as an informative platform, whilst Instagram, we use it for publishing real contents, the contents we make mostly. On the community, for example, we organize events, happy hours, aperitivi in Milan to gather the community together, not only in a digital way, but also in a physical way, which is also very important for us. So these are the services, the operations we do. Content creation, of course, as of today, is the most important one, where we work with businesses. We just propose them travels, adventures, and if they decide to undertake the contract, they give us equipment and money, and we produce for them basically everything they want. We suggest something, but it can change a lot depending on the needs of the brand. For example, we can range from product close-ups, like if they give us some shoes, we can make close-ups, or I don't know, if we are 10 people and they give us 10 pair of shoes, we have more experience-based contents. For example, people that are all together, walking in the nature, having a good time, and this is very good and very appealing for this kind of companies who most of the times have some difficulties in communicating with our target, which in turn are millennials, yeah, mainly from 18 to 25, but we have also a lot of people from 25 to 35. And yeah, mainly from 18 to 25, our communication is extremely effective because we are in that range. So I don't know, it's like an Italian talking to an Italian rather than a French talking to I don't know. You get what I mean. Community building, as I was saying, is very important for us because the community is, of course, one of our main pillars. It's really our fuel. We wouldn't be anything without our community. And yeah, thanks to the diffusion of social medias like Instagram or Facebook, it gets really not easy, but smoother to create community. Tour operator, here it's where the business to consumer B2C comes into place. We operate as a tour operator. We sell travels to our community, but also members outside of the community. Why not? Of course, we give priority to people of our community. So we have limited spots. If the spots are gone, then we go with only people of our community. If the spots are full, we try to sell it to other people. Environmental activities. I got a lot of questions about this point. Of course, being nature lovers, it's obvious that nature is most important thing for us. We wouldn't be able to do anything without the nature. So it's so important for us to keep in mind that we have to, for example, leave no trace when we do this kind of activities. But it's good that we received a lot of questions regarding what we do in concrete for this kind of activities. For example, we were asked, what do you do in your trips that you define sustainable? So first of all, in our trips, we obviously have the philosophy leave no trace. So we go through a path and it's mandatory to keep and to leave the path untouched. But other than that, when we do our own travels that we don't sell, we also like to support local communities and economies. For example, rather than going to sleeping in a hotel, a 5-star hotel, if you talk to people, you may find someone that is willing to share or give you a room that has a room left, just locals. It can happen, not a lot in Europe, but if you go already to South America or Africa or Asia, it can happen that talking to people, these people host you. And you give him money, not a lot of money, but they're okay with that. And we like it more than, of course, going to hotels or anything else. Also, instead of going to McDonald's or any fast food, same thing applies. You just talk, and it can happen that people host you for dinner. Who knows? Also, the app, the platform is, you can see it as a car sharing opportunity for people that want to go on adventures together. So say, I want to go skiing in the mountains next week. I have a car, but I don't want to pay the fuel on my own. So I can find other people and we share the price. So there is also a sustainable pattern in this. Yeah, that's it for environmental activities. Also, another big question was, yeah, that's super important. I think there are some, it's not very clear the kind of trips. I was asked, do you go on these trips? What are these trips? So I'm going to clarify which trip is what. So you can see it as B2B, then B2C, and then the platform, so the app. The B2B is travels that we organize and that we don't sell. We do it, just our team does it. And we get paid from the company, of course, from the companies that sponsor us. And this is the first kind of trip, B2B. B2C, we sell it to companies, to people of our community, and we get remunerated because we make a slightly markup. Also, if we don't like it, of course, we like it more to get paid from companies than from customers. But of course, we have to work. So we make a slight markup also on these travels that we sell. Finally, we have the application. The travels on the applications have nothing to do with these other two kinds of travels. We do not control the trips on the application. We do not organize the trips on the application. Most importantly, we do not generate income from this kind of trips that people do. So this is the thing to keep in mind. So yeah, other important questions were, how do you generate income? Well, that should be pretty clear by now. On the B2B side, we create contents and we communicate also the contents we create. We get paid for that. On the B2C side, as I was saying, we do some markup on the travels we sell, but That's like 10% of our income compared to 5% of our income. And again, with the application, with the platform, we do not generate any income. I was also asked, how do you find your clients? So I would say the clients are the companies, and the customers are the people we sell the travels to. So the companies, the clients, we normally look for them, and not the opposite, as I was asked. One exception is the first company, as I was saying, Vibram, only because we won this festival, so we got to know these people. But after that, it has always been us preparing documents, budgets, presentations, and send them, I mean, yeah, talk to these communication agencies which manage the communication of these sports brands like Ferrino. So we got in contact with these communication agencies, and they were like the bridge for us to these companies. How do you find customers to sell travels? Well, obviously through our communication channels. We actually, I think it was yesterday, we unveiled our next AA travels of the summer, which will take place in Corse and in the Azore, which is archipelago of Portugal, but it's in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And this will be 2 trips, 10 days each. And it's going to be trekking, solo trekking, I mean, without anything, complete autosufficiency. And people just write to us, hey, listen, I want to come. What do I have to do? What are the details and everything? And we just say, okay, come on, it's cool. Come with us. We're gonna have a great time. So these are some contents, but last time we tried and it didn't work out very well. So I won't try. Here we go to X Culture, your work. Of course, now you know that our business model is really articulated. We have 2 sides, then we have the app on top. And you can use a lot of creativity, I think. For example, it's obviously that we have to expand internationally, but what can we offer? How can we make the Italian market appealing to foreign companies? Or this for the B2B or for the B2C? How can we, or whom should we target for trips to sell in Italy, for example? Or where do we have to make trips in relation to these hypothetical customers? So that's it, that's the team. You know, Pietro, the guy who spoke last time, our CEO. The second is me. I deal with all the activities related to the sea with Gabriele. We just came, flew to Milan today. We did a project in Spain, and we realized a surf trip, a surf clip, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be out in 2 or 3 weeks, so stay in touch. And Alessandro Viale, the third one, is our digital manager. And yeah, everything you see through the screen regarding us, it's his job. Yeah, this is our portfolio, some of the movies we made, and our social networks. And this is it. Thank you, guys. Now time for questions.
Wonderful. And we do have quite a few questions from all different directions. So one, just to clarify, so you do have an app and you have a website, right? So it used to be just the app, and now it's an app and a website.
No. It has been thought as a platform, which is both an app for iOS and Android, and at the same time a website. And these are communicating. So it's the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. Another question is, so you showed your kind of partners. So what exactly do you guys have to do? So it almost creates an impression that all you do is just having fun, going around the world on those wonderful trips. but obviously it does involve some work. Like how do you spend your day doing the work rather than, in addition to the fun that you have?
Best example is, I just came back from Spain. We were like surfing 7-8 hours a day, and we had a video maker who was filming us 7-8 hours, even more, because he was filming us while we were surfing and also filming other scenes like the nature when we were not surfing, or the camping site, these kind of things. So it involves a lot of work, a lot of effort, because to find these untouched places, you have to look, you have to search. So we were sleeping on the coast in the tents, and that's it. It's obviously it's fun because we like it and we love it, but it's also a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. Now we have several questions about your sort of revenue model. It seems like, even though you explained it in pretty good detail now, it seems like people are still a little confused who pays for what and how much. Can you explain one more time? So what exactly the businesses pay for, what exactly the customers pay for, how exactly do you receive your share? Is it some sort of a percentage or some other way? And then roughly how much those things cost? Okay. Like in simple terms.
Okay. Let's start from the B2C,
mm-hmm.
from our next travels, which will be in course and in Azure. We sell them for 900 in course and 700 in 900 in Azure and 700 in course, and the markup we make is like 150 euros. So who pays the package? Who buys the package buys everything. So they don't have to spend anything else. You just spend 700 euros and you have 10 days completely covered, from the tents to the food to the air tickets to the insurance. That's it for the B2C. For the B2B,
so just one more thing. So then B2C, you essentially sell tours or trips, right? Somebody wants to go on a trip, you organize the whole thing, I pay you for the trip, and then I have fun, and you make a little markup. Obviously, it costs you to organize the trip, but you make a little markup, and that's how you get the money from the customers, right?
Correct.
And in that sense, your competition would be then what? Tour agencies or?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
Tour agencies and guides, but we have a price advantage on them because we don't sell ourselves really as guides.
Okay. Yep.
More as friends,
Right.
About having fun all together, and it's not me that of course I'm the organizer, but we're kind of on the same niveau,
So you're almost like a community that comes together to have fun, but the fun obviously costs some money and has to be organized. So you sort of all chip in, you charge a little bit more because you have operating expenses, but you don't really sell it as a service provider versus customer. It's more like friends coming together to have fun together. Is that correct?
Yeah, right. And it's something that people most of the times don't even want to organize. Even if they want to do, they would say, yeah, I would love to go 10 days to course, but I don't know where to start to organize it. Right. Just leave the work to us. That's it.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Okay. And then regarding to the B2B revenue.
B2B, right.
And the revenue model, I think I explained it, but I'll try again. We see where we could go as an adventure, where it could be interesting, where there could be interesting cultures or interesting things to do or to see, cool stuff to do. And we produce a presentation and a budget that we present to these companies, or rather to the communication agencies of these companies, which then go to the companies themselves. And if the companies accept, they accept our budget, and other than the budget, we say what we need for the expedition. So we need 3 tents, 3 mattresses, 3 sleep bags, other stuff, and they provide us this. And it can change a lot. We, as you have seen, we work with a lot of companies, and it changes every time what their needs are, what the things we can do are. It's very customizable. But yeah, all in all, what was the question?
Well, no, that explains it very well. So then the related question would be, so in the B2B model, who would be your competition in this case, or what are the companies that do something similar?
Yeah. You can see us as a content creator and communication tool for brands. So our competitors would be, for the B2B, mainly influencers. You all know what influencers are. Sports ambassadors, and yeah, mainly these two. But we have an advantage also on them because we can create from scratch a project, whilst an influencer, it's more limited, the job they can do. They just get the product or anything, they just post photos, whilst we create the whole project from scratch. And we have also the advantage of working in teams. So also the team mentality is very important to us. It has always been since the creation of the app itself. It's meant to connect people and create networks.
Would it be fair to say that your B2C model sort of feeds and becomes a foundation for your B2B model? In a sense, the more customers you have at the kind of grassroots level, the more attractive you become to businesses that might want to sort of advertise through you. Or it's not exactly
that? Yeah, that's correct. That's exactly correct. As I was saying, if we organize a trip with a lot of people, it can be interesting for companies to sponsor this trip.
So from this perspective, then I assume most of your money, most of your revenue comes from businesses, whereas you charge the individuals only as much as needed to organize the event, or not necessarily.
Can you repeat? Sorry.
Where does most of your revenue then comes from? Does it come from the customers primarily or from businesses? And if it comes primarily from the businesses, then would it be fair to say that you're trying to keep the cost as low as possible for the customers so that more of them come, so that you can make the product more attractive to the businesses, so that you can actually get some real money from businesses?
Exactly.
So this time, what percentage of your revenue would you say, or profits, if we can put it that way, comes from customers versus businesses?
In percentage terms?
Yes.
90, 10.
90 from businesses or 90 from customers?
Businesses.
Yeah, that's exactly, okay, that makes perfect sense. So, and then another question becomes, so if that's the model, then who would be your, and again, I'm using the word customer here, not in a sense as an individual, but as a kind of source of revenue. So when you're trying to advertise yourself, would it be fair to say that your primary kind of consumers in this sense are businesses, companies, or not, or do you have to advertise to both groups, private individuals and companies? The reason, let me explain, maybe I'm explaining it poorly. So one of the questions and the challenge that you presented is marketing. So how do we market ourselves? How do we make ourselves more known? The question that students have is, whom are you trying to market yourself to? Are you trying to market yourself to individuals who go on the trips, or to the companies that support the trips, or both?
Both. Absolutely both.
And would those two require completely different marketing strategies? Or it's something that can be done kind of with kill two birds with one stone, as they say? Because it seems like those are two drastically different audiences, right?
Yeah. Well, regarding the customers, so the B2C, of course we can communicate. We have this advantage that we can communicate directly with them, with our channels. So I would define it as organic marketing, because we market ourselves to them, and we try to appear as exciting, as adventurous as possible. And these guys like these things. Whereas with companies, it's slightly different. It's more, I would say, private dialogues and this kind of things. It's not so, I don't know how to say, it's not so open to the public, of course, how we dialogue with the companies, but it's more underneath.
Makes sense.
So Pietro is the one who keeps all the dialogues with the companies, and he does a great job.
Yeah.
And yeah, so this is the difference between how we market ourselves to the companies and to the customers.
All right. Now, there are a lot of questions here from students who are watching us live. So, for example, Irina Haichuk from Ukraine is asking if they should focus on B2B or B2C model or solution for your company, or both.
You have completely white paper, we say in Italian, I don't know.
Right,
You
so
can
if
do
you, Irina, then feel you can help more with ideas for B2B, focus on that one. If you think you can help with ideas for B2C, focus on that one.
Personally, it would be interesting to work on both, obviously.
Right.
Maybe simultaneously, maybe first one, maybe penetrate in one country first, I don't know, with B2C, then with B2B, or the opposite. But I think being our business so so various, it would be interesting to work with these two branches.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Okay. There are several questions about new market geographically. And so the confusion seems to arise again from the same issue, kind of who the consumers are. So when we say that you're looking for new markets, so that means both, I assume, on the one hand, how do you attract people from different countries to come on your trips, right? And on the other hand, how do you attract companies to use your services, again, companies from different countries? So is that a sort of, in terms of geography, is that how we think about new markets, or there is a different way to think about it?
So as far as we know, and as far as we have researched, there are two main geographical zones which would be interesting for us at this moment for a first internationalization,
Mm-hmm.
which would be the Alpine area, the area of the Alps, so including France, Germany, Switzerland, Austria.
But that's where the trips take place, right? So that's not necessarily where the customers come from. That's where they're going for the trips, right?
No. I'm talking about for a theoretical internationalization, the geographical zones that are appealing to us and
okay.
are appealing to us, and we are appealing to them. The Alpine area, because there are a big concentration of sport enthusiasts, and also in Scandinavia, for example, Sweden, Norway, there are really a lot of nature lovers and adventure enthusiasts, and in turn there are also a lot of companies, a lot of brands, sport equipment brands that would be hypothetically potentially interested in us.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then one more time. So there are two questions that just came in by email. So geography in terms of where you would like to organize the trips. So basically that's where the fun happens. Geography, where the customers can come from. Does it mean that you also only want customer from the Alpine region, or if someone from Australia wants to go on a trip, can they? And then geography of the businesses that advertise with you. Again, if there was a Chinese company or a Japanese company willing to sponsor your trip, again, does it have to be that they also come from that, for example, Scandinavian region, or they can be from anywhere in the world? Because you kind of have three sort of geographies here in a sense, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, Scandinavia and the Alps are just our suggestions, what we think and what we would where we would like to penetrate. But of course, if China comes and if a Chinese company comes and, it's business. And the first question was where to organize trips. And you can play a lot with that also. It's a lot about tourism, which is a sector that is expanding a lot in the past years. So you can play a lot with, I don't know, for example, the origin of the potential customers and the destination. For example, I don't know, there are people in Germany that want to go, or no, I have a real example, because I've been in one place in Austria where it was full of people from Norway, for example. Right. So there are specific populations, specific countries that are interested in specific destinations. So it would be interesting to play with that. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, very interesting. So Nelly Rikitas, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the name correct. Nelly Nelly is asking about your essentially marketing agencies that you work with now, or in other words, other people also asking, how do you advertise yourself? Do you use any communication agencies or promotion agencies? Do you do your own advertisement? So how do you especially reach the businesses that potentially can advertise with you?
So our advertising, we try to spend on advertising, especially in the first stage of our company. Turns out it wasn't effective as or
Right.
growing organically, let's say. So we're not spending basically anything on marketing. We're just maybe investing, I don't know, in t-shirts, on merchandise that we sell, and then people represent us. But yeah, you can see this as marketing. But I think the most important marketing is the visibility that we get working with this kind of big sports brands, because of course they pay us trips, and we share these trips on our websites, on our social medias. But of course, also these sport brands do the same, and they say, "Look at these adventure addicted guys. Who would like to be with them instead of in the office?" For example, that's one thing I read today from.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
I don't know which company, but these kind of things.
Yeah. Now, a student assigned with the name Courage Alato is asking about medical insurance. So you are engaged in risky activities. Do you have to buy medical insurance? Is it bought through you or through the customers?
It's for the customers, obviously, because yeah, we're not guides, so there is obviously the need for insurance, because even if it's hiking, which it's not so difficult. I mean, it's just walking
right
on a slope. But you know, anything can happen in the nature, so it's better to have an insurance. And we just buy this insurance that basically it's like this. If something happens, you have a region that an helicopter can come and take you and go to the hospital. That's basically it, and it's mandatory for everyone that comes to travel with us. It's mandatory. I mean, it's included in the package, and it's not like eligible.
Yep. There is a very interesting question from Sarah Gaviria. Physical presence. So when you say you're going to a new market, internalization, let's say Scandinavian market, do you have to have physical presence there? So in other words, do you need to open an office there, or do you need to have employees there to sort of get a revenue from that market, or can it be done all remotely?
That's the thing. That's maybe why so many people chose us, because we're a little bit different. We don't have any offices. I mean, we like to think nature is our office, because we work in the nature in turn. So opening an office in this kind of areas, I mean, it's an idea, but why would we need it?
Right, that makes sense. So in most cases, I assume most of the arrangements can be made out of Italy, I assume, maybe with a short trip to the location if needed. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, if we do an internalization in one specific country, then of course physical presence in that country would make sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
Of course, opening an office, I don't know, but having a physical presence instead of calling, you know better than me that it's better.
Yeah. Now, there are several students who are asking about business leads that they can bring to you. So on normal model, so we have 15 clients this time, and most of them say, in addition to your ideas, we would like to get sort of business leads out of you. For example, if a company sells chocolate, they can say, why don't you talk to the local stores and see if they would like to buy a shipment of our chocolate to try and sell it. So basically get us a contract. For your company, if students wanted to impress you, if they wanted to bring you sort of a contract, what would that be? Would it be signing up someone for the trip, or would it be finding a company that wants to advertise with you? So what kind of sort of, contract they can be looking for, business lead they can be looking for, so that when you look at it, you say, oh, that's very useful. It will lead to new business for us. What could it be? Because you have like 5,000 people around the world now trying to help you. They can talk to anyone and potentially find someone who might want to work with you. Whom should they talk to?
Can you repeat the question?
So there are many people, many students now around the world trying to help your company. So ex-culture students. And so many of them would be willing and happy to talk to potential paying customers. The challenge with your company is that it seems like not all students understand who would be that potential paying customer. As I was saying, for example, if the company makes shoes or clothing or chocolate, so the students would go to, for example, local store networks and chains and say, I have this Italian company, they make shoes or they make chocolate. Would you like to buy a container of that chocolate, of that product, and try to sell it through your store? In this case, the student helps you, you get a contract, everyone's happy. With Adventure Addicted, it's not quite clear whom they should talk to in order to facilitate a contract for you. Should they try to find companies that potentially might want to sponsor you? Or should they try to talk to perhaps some customers who might want to go on your trip, or somebody else? Like, what would be those business decision makers who potentially can mean revenue for you, who could potentially can mean new business for you?
I mean, this question connects to the question you asked before, which is, should we internationalize B2B,
right,
or B2C, or both? So it really depends on what you have in mind for us and what your projects are. It's of course a good idea. You can get really insights, and you can touch what we're talking about if you talk to companies rather than customers that want to go with us on our trips. It's very informative, I think, and a good idea.
Yeah.
Should do it.
Yeah. At the very least, I assume it will give some ideas for the students as to what the customers think about it. You know, are they interested in a product of this kind? Yeah.
It's so important to talk to customers and clients. I mean, you know it. Clients are everything.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense. All right. Well, I think I've answered all of the questions that we had at this time. We have another webinar in 15 minutes, so we probably want to take a quick break. Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations again on being the most popular company this semester in ex-culture. And I hope that all those 150 teams will bring you many interesting ideas and possibly business leads. Thank you.
Thank you, Vasil.
Yep.
Thank you very much for organizing all this.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
So I'm going to